Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Shawn, the realtor guy from Portland, Oregon. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about what's the difference between the townhomes versus condos. This topic may be confusing to many of you out there. And to be honest with you, I've seen some agents who don't know the difference. So I'll break it down and try to explain to you as simple as possible. The first way to tell is that townhomes own the land, which means if you look at the county property tax record, you're going to see some kind of value on the land value. When you look at the condominiums, there's no land value. It says zero. That is it. There's some other differences that I'll be talking about more in this video, but that's the basically only way that you can tell the difference. If you look at the outside, the structure, it doesn't make sense. There are a lot of condominiums that looks like a townhome. By the way, some people call it townhomes, some call it townhouse. I've seen row house, I've seen attached house, I've seen attached single family home. So those are other terms that people all mix and use. But when it comes to townhomes, that's what you can think. Typically townhomes have shared walls. If you're end unit, you just share one wall. If you're in the middle unit, you're going to share two walls on both sides. And typically the end units actually get better value because it has a little bit more privacy, a little less noise issue, something to think about. Some townhomes come with really good, backyard, fenced in yard. Some have very small yard, but typically you're going to see some kind of yardage in the back. That's what I see often too. And the size-wise is very different too. Townhomes are much bigger compared to condominiums in typical situation. Yesterday was a good example. I actually showed the one condo and one townhome yesterday. And the condominium price was actually higher. And the HOA was much higher on the condominium. Something to, make a note. A lot of times condominiums actually include the utility costs in the HOA fees. So, water, sewer, garbage, internet, those things are typically included. But you have to double check. They're not always included. So you always have to know what you're paying for. But typically speaking, in Portland, Oregon, you're going to see higher HOA fees than the townhomes. Townhomes, there's some townhomes, actually, let me talk about this. There's some very interesting townhomes without HOAs. There are a few out there. I've sold a few in Aloha. You're going to see that every once in a while. What happens is that the homeowners get together at the HOA meeting and they say, let's just not have HOA. That can happen. And in my opinion, those can be a good deal. The only downside is when you have to fix the roof, you have to talk to your neighbor and try to figure that out. That can be kind of tricky, but otherwise you're not going to pay any HOA fees. You just maintain your own roofs and sidings. And other townhomes include the outside, the roof and siding maintenance. We call it the shell, the cover. And then the utilities are not included. So you'll find those HOA fees too. Right now they go about $250 to about $350 per month, just outside maintenance HOA. And so one last difference is townhomes typically don't have the rental restrictions, which means the rental restrictions are where the HOA limits how many units can be rented. Condominiums, you're going to find 95% of condominiums have the rental restrictions. They're anywhere between 20 to 30%. So if there's 100 units, it can only be rented up to 20 unit or 25 unit or 30 unit in the building. The idea is the more owner occupied, the better taken care of. I guess that's the idea. So you're going to find a lot in that. which makes condominium less desirable to investors. Because if you don't get that, you buy that as investment, but if you can't rent it, what's the point? And townhomes don't typically have that. I haven't seen any townhomes that had rental restrictions, right? So that's the big difference. When it comes to value preservation, I think townhomes are better because of the less restrictions on the rental. And typically the HOA fees are lower, which makes the home affordability a little bit better than the condominium. But obviously it's less than the single family homes, because single family homes without HOA is going to have a much better affordability. Even at a higher price, you pay pretty much the same when you add on that HOA fee on top of the lower townhome price. So, I mean, I'm going all over the board here, but so let me talk about that. So the main difference is, like I said, owning land or not, and it has more restrictions or not. Those are the only two ways to tell. So if you go to like a portlandmaps.com, there should be like, assessed value. On townhomes, you'll see like land value. The condominiums, you don't. Basically, condominiums land is owned by the HOA. So hope that makes sense. I know it's a very confusing topic. When I go on social media, a lot of lenders don't even know. A lot of realtors actually don't know the difference, it seems. But, that's what I know. But this information is based in Oregon real estate. I have no idea what other states categorize that as. So if you have any questions about Portland, Oregon market, feel free to give me a call, 503-515-4499. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button and please share with your friends or relatives who need to buy or sell. Thanks so much.